And joining me right now is Stefan Bernstein, CEO of GreenRoc Mining, GROC. Stefan, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, good morning, Justin.
Yeah, and you've achieved a lot this year. And we are at the end of 2022. Of course, lots to come in 2023. But I thought what we do is go through some of the operational highlights you've achieved this year. And then, of course, we can look forward to what you hope to achieve next year. So first and foremost, Stefan, if there's an overriding message that you'd like to give to sort of investors or people learning about the story, what would it be?
Well, it would be that with this year's program, we really have moved GreenRoc Mining from the exploration stage to the development stage, because we are presently developing a world-class graphite mine in southern Greenland towards production.
Got it. Okay, well, let's talk about graphite a little bit. People may be listening and not aware of the market, the size, the potential of it, and your timing within this area. Take us through that if you could, Stefan.
Yes, I'll just jump here to a slide that shows the market predictions for graphite, and it shows the blue curve to the left here shows the flake graphite, natural flake graphite, which is what we could produce or will be producing in Greenland, and it shows that it's going to go into deficit in 2023, the next year, and in 27 it's going to be so hugely in deficit, and that is the year that we'll be planning to be in full production at Amitsoq. And one more thing to add to this is that the reason for this enormous deficit in the graphite market is that the graphite is the most abundant element in electric car batteries, and we see a very significant ramp up in production of EV batteries in Europe, but also in China and in the US. So it's set to increase the need for graphite by 4 times already in 3 years up to 25, and nearly 10 times towards 2030 compared to today.
Wow. Yeah, that's a huge increase in demand. And of course, companies like yourself are needed for that supply. So, of course, you've been on the podcast many times this year talking about some of the highlights of the year. So if we could, let's go through some of those, Stefan.
Yes. What I can say is that first I'll just pause a little bit here and mention the portfolio that we have in addition to the Amitsoq Graphite project. We have the Thule Black Sands, which is a placer ilmenite deposit in northern Greenland. We have advanced also quite a bit this year. We have done an environmental impact assessment field work, and are also now on evaluating drill core data to arrive at an updated mineral resource. But the most important is, of course, the Amitsoq Graphite. This is also the one I'll be spending most time on talking about today, because that's where we have the most significant advances, and also where we believe that we can deliver most value to our shareholders, of course, and in the shortest time. And also where the market, as I just described here, are the most positive. Right, so the highlights, well, we're developing this graphite deposit towards production. It was already a mine back 100 years ago, and that testifies to the really high quality of the graphite that we have there. Based on the drilling we conducted last year, which was the phase 1 drilling, we arrived at a indicated and inferred resource of a bit more than 8 million tons at nearly 20% graphite. And that puts us really at the second highest graphite content of any graphite project under development in the world. This year we conducted phase 2 drilling at Amitsoq. The occurrences here, the southern part of the island. The map to the right shows where the graphite layers outcrop on surface, and then they dip towards the west, and we have been able to significantly increase the footprint of this deposit by the drilling we conducted. You can see the model to the left here, showing the 2 graphite layers dipping sort of towards you or towards the west. It's very significant. We have two graphite layers. There's the upper graphite layer and the lower graphite layer. The drilling program was hugely successful in the sense that we transected mineable width of graphite in all of the holes. And the lower graphite layer turns out to be the thickest and most consistent of these graphite layers. And it's also the one with the highest grades. The first batch of samples arrived just a couple of 3 weeks ago, showing that we have typically between 23-24% graphite in the lower graphite layer. And the thickness increases from the south at about 2.5 meters towards the north of more than 20 meters thickness. And lastly, I would say also it's important to realize here that it's open towards the north and towards the west. So we have by no means like exhausted or what shall we say, delineated the maximum size of the deposit. It's likely to be a lot bigger. So let me just take you through this 3D model that shows how it occurs. It's the southern tip of the Amitsoq Island. We are now looking towards the north, and we see the two graphite layers here, the upper graphite layer and the lower graphite layer. This is where the outcrop on surface, and this is also where the old mine was situated. And now we spin around here. We're looking towards the east now. And now we go from the north, we sort of look inside the mountain. And here we can see how thick the lower graphite layer really gets towards the north. And again, it continues out towards us. So this is by no means the total extent of it. And we can also see the old mine adit that goes into the top here. This is where we also collected a bulk sample that I'll come back to in a second. And then spinning around here gives you a full impression of what the ore bodies look like. Right. Let me just stop that. One more important item that we conducted. We did some further field work in the adjacent areas. Amitsoq Island is out here, and we already, as you can see on the map to the right, here's the Amitsoq deposit. We conducted field work here last year at the Kalark to find a new deposit. We found two new important occurrences way down to the south here in the Nordic Island and further up towards the north here. Both areas contain graphite ore bodies up to 30% graphite. So we are really developing a graphite district here, probably a world-class graphite district, and it's all under GreenRoc mining licenses. A bit more to this is that the graphite that is used in car batteries is not just flake graphite. This shows a picture of our graphite concentrate that we can produce, more than 95-96% graphite. That has to be treated. Natural graphite looks like flakes like this. It has to be treated into spherical graphite to be used in anode material. And our test work that's been carried out in Germany shows that we can spherize the graphite to make anode material. So that's another major achievement. And then lastly, we conducted some bulk sampling when we, by the end of the drilling program, this was extracted from the old mine adits, and we took out about 700 kilograms. They are being sent to a lab in Germany where they will provide us with important constraints on processing parameters, and also with a graphite concentrate product that we can start talking to off-takers. Yes, and then I'll just mention that I had a little tour around Europe this fall here, visited a couple of graphite companies that are manufacturing variety of graphite products, and also Pro Graphite, which is an internationally renowned graphite expert laboratory in Germany.
Very interesting. Yeah. Excellent 3D model. Just shows you the size and scale of that deposit there. So take us through, you mentioned the environmental impact assessment. Take us through the progress of that and the significance of that, if you could, Stefan.
Yes, sure. These are really important milestones in order to achieve a mining permit or an exploitation permit from the Greenland administration. And in order to do that, we have to conduct an environmental impact assessment, which already started some years ago with some baseline studies. And we conducted most of the field work this summer by sampling a variety of seaweed and other things to do some measurements and observations. That's all going to go into the environmental impact assessment report, which is due sometimes the end of next year. And we also started the social impact assessment, and that is being carried out by Neras, a Danish company. And part of that will be, it started this December here, and some of the first actions will be a community meeting will be conducted in the nearby town Nanortalik in January. That is next month.
Yeah. Okay. And so if you could then, people watching here and thinking, okay, what's going to be achieved in 2023? What do you expect will be the operational highlights going forward for the next year, Stefan?
Yes. So first of all, we're going to carry on with the processing of the bulk sample that we collected. We will also be finalizing the environmental impact assessment and conduct most of the social impact assessment next year. That leads on to the exploitation application that we will file in 24. In addition to that, we will be embarking on a preliminary economic assessment or a scoping study, which we are planning to have at hand by next summer. And most importantly, I think, is that the result of this year's drilling program is going to be available pretty soon, the assays that then will be feeding into a calculation of a new resource estimate for Amitsoq. And I think with the significant intersections that we have, we're going to see a very significant upgrade in deposit. Yes, I think those are some of the most important points for next year. I think a lot of the data that we are now developing really are going to feed into the, as I said, one of the nearest goal is to achieve the mining permit or exploitation permit, and then leading on to the PFS, the preliminary feasibility study.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, Stefan. So finally, if you could just for investors who've listened, summarize all that, if you could, to put in a nice, compact little statement in summary, please.
Yes. Okay. I would say that at Amitsoq, we know that we have a very high quality graphite, and we have a lot of it. We have basically removed all the geological risk associated with that deposit. So now we are mainly concerned about how we're going to develop this towards a mining operation. The market is certainly there. It's ready to hoover up all of the graphite that we can produce. So in 2023, we are set to deliver a significant increase in company value to the benefit of our shareholders, of course, and also to Greenland and the world's green transition.
Excellent stuff. Well, listen, congratulations on the operational highlights in 2022. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I look forward to catching up in 2023. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you, and same to you, Justin.